Okay, well, it's no big deal. We're here, and is this, the rheumatologist?
Yes, my name's Leslie Ann Cassidy.
Okay. So what's our goal here? What do we want to talk about?
Well, we basically set this up for you because I heard that I saw your emails and you have a lot of concerns about the, Humira, the Hyrimoz biosimilar switch.
Right.
And so I'm primarily here to answer any questions that you have.
I don't have any questions.
No, Dr. Cassidy, so you're a pediatric rheumatologist that works for Caremark?
I'm a rheumatologist, yes.
And you work for Caremark?
I work, yes.
Okay.
So you don't see patients?
Not currently.
Okay. So anyway, so the problem with this is that when people have a drug that's working, we don't change it. Doesn't make any sense. So that's going to be the bottom line. The other thing is that we have had experiences of making these switches, and what we have found is that they're not effective. And when we go back to the one that was working, it doesn't work anymore. So there's something going on there that you guys aren't really tuned into, maybe because you have different motivation than I do. I want the patient to continue to do well if they're on a medicine. Making a change for money, that's not the rationale for me.
Right. Well, I think, first concerning that the switches that have been made in the past, I saw that happened with infliximab. We know that Remicade is very different from Humira in terms of immunogenicity. And I definitely had patients who switched from Remicade to Inflectra and had no problem.
The only problem I could see with that,
As
that would be taking about $1,000 out of the doctor's pocket.
Well, yeah, we're not, I can't answer those questions.
Right, those are very important questions, and that's part of it.
I come from an academic background.
Yeah, who's not working as a doctor anymore.
Those reimbursements. But in terms of the Humira,
So let me ask you a question.
by definition,
So when we have a lot of people who get financial assistance to be on these drugs, Humira is a good example of that. So if we switch over, how do you guys manage the financial assistance?
that is something, if they're getting something through a manufacturer's assistance program, that wouldn't change because they're not getting it through insurance. As far as the copay assistance is concerned, yeah, I'm not sure about that. There may be a copay assistance for Hyrimoz.
Okay, so you actually don't
But
know.
if they're getting it through, through the manufacturer's assistance program, that would not change because if they're getting it through AbbVie, they're not getting it through insurance.
So I'm the practice administrator, and I just want to jump in here. Dr. Cassidy, you are working for CVS Caremark, and I thought this call was for you to school us on how these non-medical switches are no big deal. And so that's not the case here, or that is what you're telling us, that they're no big deal and we should just do them.
Well, if we are going by all of the data that's supported by scientific evidence that we have from the FDA, by definition, the active ingredient has the same efficacy and safety. We know that the inactive ingredients are different. We know that we can't, by definition, call them the generic because it's not possible to make a generic biologic.
They're different drugs.
They're too complex.
I agree completely with you. They're different.
When Humira was first put on the market, because it's so complex, it has changed over time. So Humira is actually a biosimilar in itself, one could say now, compared to then. So these minor changes do happen over time because the molecules are so complex.
So that's a rationale for why. That's a rationale why we have somebody on a biologic and it might start develop a new problem that doesn't work or something like that. That would be a change. But to have a drug that's working to make a change is not a rational thing to do, so that's not what we're gonna be doing.
But this is not a different drug. You know, all of the data that we have from switching studies shows that there is no increased risk of immunogenicity or antibody formation, which would be the cause of the secondary loss of response to biologics.
So anyway,
You know,
it doesn't make any,
Caremark, for
it
example.
doesn't make any sense to change a medication that's working. It just is, it's not, there's no reasonable explanation as to why anybody would wanna do that to their patients. When we have medicines that work, we're not changing it, so that's just the way it is. Now, what I could see is when we start a biologic, I think starting with one of these drugs that you guys are really motivated to be part of could be fine if the financial assistance could be expected for the patients. And that's something that I think that means more to me than any other nonsense that you're gonna say to me about how these are the same. They're not. And the motivation of these producers of similar drugs are they're motivated to do whatever it takes to get a piece of the sale, and they could do that. All they need to do is do an elegant job of presenting their drug in terms of the effectiveness of the medication, and also to reassure us that if the patients need financial assistance, that they're gonna get them through that new drug. See what I'm saying? Are you following me?
Yes, you know,
Okay.
yeah, we also
Good.
need to take a look at the cost of the whole system. You know, and research that you probably know that Denmark has just a national formulary, and they have gone through multiple switches of their infliximab biosimilars. And so we have a lot of data from them and other European countries showing that when the patients have gone through switches, there have not been higher rates of discontinuation compared to historical cohorts. And that was true for one switch and two switches. And that same group looked at the cost that would be saved in the US by switching, which is about $50 billion.
Well,
And
No, I don't see that with you guys. I don't trust that statement at all. Now, maybe in Europe things are different, but in the United States, man, I've not seen anybody in any insurance company do anything but to look for more money for them.
I mean, if you want to have a conversation about cost, you've got $93.8 billion of fourth quarter revenue in 2023 for Caremark, doing absolutely none of the actual patient care. So that would be where we would look.
yeah, I don't have anything to do with that side of Caremark.
Of course you
On
don't.
the clinical side, the clinical review side.
Okay, well,
Yep.
you've got some patients that you can take these patients over, Dr. Cassidy, and make the non-medical switches yourself, because we're not doing it.
Yeah, I think that's the clear message that I want to communicate with you, and the rationale. Do you understand me?
I understand what you're saying, but
Good.
have a difference of opinion here. We certainly would never switch a patient from Humira to a non-adalimumab product. But
False.
the FDA has determined that Humira is equivalent to the biosimilars by definition, and the interchangeability designation is probably going to be done away with soon, because the FDA actually considers all biosimilars to be interchangeable in the same way that they are interchangeable in Europe. The European Medical Agency does not considers all biosimilars to be interchangeable, and there's no difference between
But the thing that you're ignoring is changing a medicine unnecessarily. That's never going to be a reasonable thing to do. You look at what they're doing in Europe. Maybe if they're in a study, they will do whatever they get paid for. But for anybody who's on a medicine and having success, changing it makes no sense. It's not a rational thing to do. So it's not going to be anything that we're going to be doing.
Well, it wasn't part of
Well, I wouldn't call infliximab a biosimilar. Infliximab is a drug that in the United States is horrid for anybody who doesn't have a contract with them, like you guys. You guys could maybe promote the idea that Inflectra is a reasonable drug to give to patients, but if we were to try to do that in our practice, we would literally be
Closing our doors.
closing our doors. We wouldn't be able to, we'd be paying to have that drug be given to our patients. We've had a similar situation with other.
No, I'm not, I'm talking about, the scientific thing.
Well, don't make the mistake of using
I
using
understand.
Inflectra. Inflectra is a bad drug. I would maybe what's it, Rinvo? No.
Renflexis.
Renflexis. Now, Renflexis has had more of a rational billing system, so they're actually fairly reasonable for a doctor to prescribe to a patient because we're not going to be having negative funding coming out of our office. I don't think you really have a good clue to what. Yeah, I don't think you have a good clue to real world realities. So I'm a little questioning the value of our conversation here. You want to kind of. You want to kind of wrap up your.
Inflectra has been an issue, but I'm only discussing the scientific basis behind biosimilars, not on the reimbursement side, because I actually do not know about that. I can try and answer those questions.
Well, the reimbursement side is very, very important.
It all turns into an access to patients can't access the money while Caremark marches with billion-dollar quarterly profits to the bank and then tells the doctors doing the work what to do. So I think, unless you have any other important information to tell us, that we'll go back to doing our jobs and caring for patients, and you guys can go back to doing whatever it is you do at Caremark.
Well, I just wanted, to make sure that you also knew that we do have different avenues to pursue appeals and make exceptions to cases because.
We don't. They're unreasonable. They're unreasonable. There's no other avenue. You guys gave us a choice of your product that CVS, Caremark, Aetna owns to make non-medical switches to for 78 patients. There was no choice, doctor.
Yeah, I think calling it switching from Humira to a biosimilar in 10, 20 years, we'll probably look back at this as last.
Well, we're not on 10 or 20 years. We are in 2024 trying to care for patients while you guys tell us what to do.
I think that the laughter would be the financing of the situation with these insurance companies, the profit that they're making, and their ability to do probably manipulating the FDA. That's a long-standing strategy in many drugs that's been in some ways successful, in other ways not. Colchicine, they paid the FDA, and now they are selling it for, instead of 3 cents, it's $2 a pill. There's tons of that kind of shit.
The pharmaceutical companies, not the insurance companies.
It's
Well,
one and
anyway,
the same, doctor.
So it's nice talking to you. Is there anything else that you want to just say? You seem like you have a nice voice. I don't know. Maybe you're a nice person. I don't know, but I can certainly see your desire to manipulate and present to your employers that you're having good success.
Well, I just wanted to see if there was anything else.
Yeah, I just don't see.
Reassure you that
I just don't see any rationale for making a change like this unless the insurance company is going to make so much money from it that they are motivated to pay people like you to say whatever it takes to make a change. And who knows what we're going to have to deal with as time goes on, because obviously you guys are very motivated, and the concept that this is appropriate care for a patient is ridiculous. And I think that that's where the reality is going to be becoming a joke as time goes on. I don't know how the insurance situation is going to change in the future. It is a nightmare for doctors. And some of them just handle it passively, and others just maintain our relationship with our patients. And the insurance, that's not their role. They're not looking to help the patients. They're looking to do things to improve your income. And I understand that, and I don't like it, but I understand that's what's going on. So anyway, it was nice talking to you. I'm gonna hang up pretty quick. I've got some patients to see. Is there anything else you wanted to achieve today?
No, I
Okay.
think that's everything unless you have any additional questions.
No, I have no questions. Have a nice day.